It's midnight. The world is sleeping in absolute silence, but you're here, awake. Maybe it's insomnia. Maybe it's the universe whispering secrets that can only be heard when everything is quiet. At this very moment, while millions of people are dreaming, millions of other souls exist in places your mind can't even imagine. Have you ever had that weird feeling that there's something much bigger going on beyond what your eyes can see? That unexplainable certainty that death isn't the end, but just a door? Today I'm going to take you on a journey that will challenge everything you think about justice, about good and evil, about what really happens after we leave this world. If this type of content sparks your curiosity about the mysteries of existence, hit that like button now, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because what I'm about to reveal today could completely change your perspective on life and death. And please, comment at the end telling me how you felt watching this video. Tonight, we're going to explore a territory that few dare to enter, a place where the answers are more unsettling than the questions. Get ready, because there's no turning back after you know this. Here's the question that has haunted humanity since the first murder. What happens to the souls of those who committed evil? I'm not talking about little lies or everyday betrayals. I'm talking about true evil. The evil that takes innocent lives, that destroys entire families, that leaves scars on humanity forever. Hitler, Stalin, serial killers whose names you know but prefer not to say. Where are these souls now? Did they just disappear into nothingness? Or is there something waiting for them on the other side? For centuries, religions have given us convenient answers: eternal hell, endless punishment, fire and brimstone. But what if I told you that the reality is much more complex and much more terrifying than any religious description? Have you ever stopped to think that maybe true cosmic justice is something our human minds can barely comprehend? Something so profound and transformative that it makes the traditional concept of punishment seem childish? This question isn't just philosophical. It's urgent. Because if you believe there's something after death, then you need to understand how the universal scale works. And if you don't believe, well, what I'm going to show you today might make you rethink everything. The answer to this question came through an extraordinary man. A man who could access impossible information while he slept. Edgar Cayce. Maybe you've never heard that name, but you should have. This man, known as the Sleeping Prophet, gave over 14,000 documented psychic readings between 1901 and 1944. These weren't circus tricks or cheap charlatanism. They were precise medical sessions, prophecies that came true, revelations about past lives that were later verified. Skeptical doctors came from other states to test him. Cayce would go into a trance and diagnose illnesses with surgical precision, prescribing treatments that conventional medicine would only discover decades later. He saved lives, cured incurable diseases, and did it all while sleeping. But Cayce's most unsettling revelations weren't about medicine. They were about the fate of souls after death. Specifically, about what happens to those who chose the path of darkness during their earthly lives. During one of his most impactful readings, someone asked the exact question you're asking yourself now: what happens to evil souls after death? The answer Cayce gave, still in a deep trance, goes against everything you've learned about divine punishment. He didn't speak of a hell with demons and cauldrons of sulfur. He didn't describe a vengeful God sending souls to eternal torment. What he revealed was something much more sophisticated, much more psychologically devastating. The truth is that the universe has a system of justice so perfect that our human minds can barely process its cruel elegance. Forget everything you've learned about hell. Forget the eternal fire, the demons with pitchforks, the endless physical suffering. The reality is infinitely more sophisticated and terrifying. According to Cayce, when a soul that has committed atrocities leaves the physical body, it isn't dragged into a cauldron of sulfur. Instead, something much more psychologically devastating happens. It experiences in first person every moment of pain it caused to other human beings. Imagine for a second, you are Hitler. You've just died. But instead of facing demons or eternal flames, you suddenly become each one of your victims. You feel the terror of a child being torn from her parents. You experience the physical and emotional pain of every person who died in the concentration camps. You live, literally, every second of agony that your decisions caused. It's not external punishment. It's direct experience. It's not a vengeful God punishing you. It's the universe itself showing you, in a visceral and inescapable way, the true weight of your actions. But here's the part that will blow your mind. This isn't punishment. It's education. It's the universe forcing the soul to fully comprehend the impact of its choices. It's as if the cosmos says, you want to understand what you did, then live it from the other side. Now you might be thinking, that sounds too cruel. But wait, because what comes next will show that this apparent cruelty might actually be the most compassionate form of justice that exists. Close your eyes for a moment. No, really, close them. Now imagine you are one of these souls. You've just left your physical body, and suddenly you find yourself facing an experience that no human mind could be prepared for. First, you feel the absolute terror of a 6-year-old child being ripped from her mother's arms. It's not a vague memory. It's as if you are that child. Your muscles tremble with her fear. Your tears are her tears. You scream with her voice, feel her small heart racing in her chest. And that's just the first second of an experience that could last for eternities. Now you are the desperate father watching his family being destroyed. You feel the despair tearing at your chest, the helplessness burning like acid in your veins. You experience every accelerated heartbeat, every drop of cold sweat on your forehead, every muscle contracted by panic. Next, you become the pregnant woman afraid of losing her baby. You feel the contractions of terror in your womb, the nausea of fear, the trembling hands protecting your belly. You are not watching this pain. You are this pain. And it goes on, and on, and on. Every life you destroyed, every dream you shattered, every moment of happiness you stole. Now you experience it from the other side. It's as if the universe says, you want to know the real power of your actions? Then feel it in your own skin. But here's what haunts me most about this revelation from Cayce. This is not an external punishment imposed by a vengeful cosmic judge. It is a natural, automatic, unavoidable consequence. It's like gravity. It doesn't question, it doesn't judge, it simply is. But wait, you might be thinking, if this experience is so devastating, how does a soul survive this? This is where it gets really interesting, and maybe more hopeful than you imagine. Cayce revealed that this intense experience of forced empathy is not the end of the journey. It's the beginning. It's as if the universe says, now that you truly understand what you did, what are you going to do with this knowledge? Some souls, according to the readings, are so shocked by the magnitude of the pain they caused that they enter a state of, how can I explain it? Temporal disintegration. They simply cannot process the intensity of the experience and get stuck in this cycle of feeling their victim's pain over and over again. But other souls, this is where the story takes an unexpected turn. Other souls make a choice that might surprise you. A choice that shows how the universe is infinitely more compassionate than any religion has ever taught. Can you guess what that choice is? Before I reveal it, think. If you were one of these souls and had just experienced all the suffering you caused, what would be your first impulse? To run away? To deny it? Or something completely different? The answer will show that even in the darkest situations, the universe always offers a path back to the light. But that path requires something that few are willing to do. And the most incredible thing is that you may have already met some of these souls in your daily life without even knowing it. You know that person who dedicates their entire life to helping others, almost obsessively? That volunteer who works with orphaned children, or the doctor who goes to war-torn countries to treat refugees for free. That person who seems to have an almost desperate need to alleviate the suffering of others? Maybe you've asked yourself, why is she so dedicated? Why this urgency to help? Well, according to Cayce, some of these people may be souls who, in past lives, caused terrible pain and have now returned with a specific mission, to repair the damage. Think of that teacher who works in inner-city schools, dedicating every free minute to educating children that society has forgotten. Or the nurse who treats terminal patients with a compassion that goes beyond the professional. Or the therapist who works with trauma victims without accepting payment. These people have something in common, an unexplainable urgency to heal, to protect, to alleviate suffering. It's as if they carry a cosmic debt that can only be paid through unconditional love. Now, this doesn't mean that every altruistic person was an evildoer in past lives, but Cayce revealed that many souls who experience the pain they caused make a conscious choice to return to Earth, specifically to repair their mistakes through service. It's a voluntary choice. No one forces them. They simply cannot bear the idea that their existence was responsible for so much suffering. So they ask to come back, to have the chance to transform their destructive energy into healing energy. But here's the question that might change your perspective on these people. If they are sacrificing themselves to repair mistakes from past lives, what is our responsibility towards them? How should we treat them? And more importantly, how can we help them on their journey of redemption? Now we get to the point that will make your mind short-circuit. Because if this revelation from Cayce is true, it creates moral dilemmas that will blow up your entire belief system about good and evil, justice and forgiveness. First dilemma. If Hitler is now experiencing all the pain he caused, is he still the villain of the story, or has he become the greatest victim of all time? Think about it. If he is literally feeling the suffering of 6 million Jews, plus all the soldiers who died in the war, plus all the destroyed families, who is suffering more now, his victims or him? Doesn't that make you uncomfortable? Because it should. Our human minds are programmed to want simple justice. The evildoer must suffer, period. But what if his suffering now is infinitely greater than the suffering he caused? Does that change our perception of justice? Second dilemma, even more unsettling. If these souls choose to return to repair their mistakes through service, does that mean we should forgive them? Imagine discovering that the person who cares for children with disabilities was, in a past life, responsible for genocide. Would your first reaction be admiration for their current work or revulsion for their past? And here's the dilemma that will make you question everything. If we, through hatred and revenge, prevent these souls from completing their journey of redemption, do we become the new bad guys in the story? Could our justified anger actually be perpetuating the cycle of suffering that should be broken? But the most haunting dilemma of all is this. If you were one of these souls, if you had committed atrocities and were now trying to make amends, would you want people to know your past? Or would you prefer they judge only your present actions? Third dilemma. And what if some of these souls who are trying to repair their mistakes are people close to you, your spouse, your parents, your children? How would that change the way you see them? Could you separate who they were from who they are now? Cayce went even further in this revelation. He said that some souls become so desperate to repair the harm they caused that they accept extremely difficult lives. Being born with disabilities, going through trauma, living in poverty, all for the opportunity to develop compassion and serve others who suffer. This means that when we see someone going through extreme hardship, maybe we shouldn't just feel pity. Maybe we should feel respect, admiration, because that person might be consciously choosing a difficult life to evolve spiritually. But then comes the nagging question. If it's true that some people choose their hardships to evolve, does that mean we should stop trying to help those who suffer? Or does it mean we should help even more, recognizing that we are instruments of the healing they seek? And the final dilemma, which is perhaps the most important of all. If you believe in this vision of Cayce's, how does this change your personal responsibility? Because if every action you take can create a cosmic debt that you will have to pay by experiencing the pain you caused, shouldn't that completely transform the way you treat other people? Every harsh word, every moment of cruelty, every time you ignore someone who needs help. All of this could be creating future experiences where you will feel in your own skin what the other person felt. Doesn't that make you completely rethink your small, everyday acts of unkindness? This is where everything changes. Because until now you might have thought, this theory is interesting, but what does it have to do with me? Well, according to Cayce, it has everything to do with you. We are not just passive spectators in this cosmic process of justice and redemption. We are active participants. First, every person watching this video right now has the power to directly influence the destiny of these souls who are going through the process of reparation. How? Through something you do every day without even realizing its power: your thoughts and your prayers. Cayce revealed that when we pray or send thoughts of compassion to souls who are suffering, even those who have committed evil, we are literally sending healing energy that can accelerate their healing process. It's as if our positive thoughts are a bridge of light that helps these souls cross the valley of suffering more quickly. But be careful. This doesn't mean we should ignore the victim's pain or minimize the gravity of the crimes. It means we can recognize that suffering doesn't heal suffering, that hate doesn't heal hate, and that our capacity to forgive and send light is one of the most powerful tools we have to break cycles of negativity. Think of it this way. When you hate someone, you are creating negative energy that can influence not only your own life, but the entire energy network around you. When you choose to forgive and send light, you are contributing to the collective healing of humanity. The second aspect of your power, recognition and support. If some people around you are souls on a journey of reparation, your role is to recognize and support the good they are doing now. It doesn't matter what they did in the past, it matters who they have chosen to be today. That person who works tirelessly helping others? Acknowledge that work. Support that mission. Be the encouragement they need to continue. Because maybe your word of encouragement is exactly the energy they need to complete their healing journey. The third aspect, and perhaps the most important, your personal responsibility. Every action you take today is creating energetic consequences that can manifest in this life or in future lives. Every moment of kindness, every act of compassion, every time you choose to help instead of ignore, all of this is building a brighter future for you and for all of humanity. But the opposite is also true. Every moment of unnecessary cruelty, every time you hurt someone out of anger or ego, every missed opportunity to do good, all of this could be creating future experiences where you will need to learn through suffering. The good news? You have total control over this. At every moment, in every interaction, you can choose to be part of the solution or part of the problem. You can choose to be someone who spreads light or someone who increases the darkness in the world. And here is the most empowering aspect of all. According to Cayce, it's never too late to change. Even if you've made serious mistakes in the past, even if you've hurt people, even if you have guilt that haunts you, you can start now to build a different future through conscious acts of love and service. It's not about punishment. It's about evolution. It's not about paying debts. It's about growing as a human being. And you have that power in your hands right now. We return to that moment of silence at the beginning of this video. You, awake in the dead of night, contemplating mysteries that most people prefer not to face. But now you are not the same person who started watching this content. Now you carry a knowledge that can completely transform your way of seeing the world. You've understood that the justice of the universe is not primitive like our human justice. It's not an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. It is an educational, transformative justice aimed at healing and not destruction. A justice that recognizes that even the most lost soul can find its way back to the light. More importantly, you've discovered that you are not a passive spectator in this cosmic process. You are an active participant. Your choices matter. Your thoughts have power. Your ability to forgive and send light can literally accelerate the healing of souls who are suffering. And that changes everything, doesn't it? It changes how you see that difficult person at work, how you react when someone hurts you, how you treat strangers on the street. Because now you know that every interaction is an opportunity to spread light or darkness in the world. That feeling you had at the beginning of the video, that there is something bigger going on, now you know what it is. It's the great web of healing and evolution that we are all a part of. It's the continuous process of souls learning, growing, and redeeming themselves through love. Now I need your help to spread this message. If this content touched your heart, if it made you rethink your beliefs about justice and forgiveness, leave a like, share it with people who need to hear this, and subscribe to the channel for more revelations like this. But most importantly, tell me in the comments, How will this information change the way you treat the people around you? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you completely believe in Cayce's revelations or if you have doubts. What matters is that you've understood the transformative power of forgiveness, compassion, and unconditional love. You've understood that your individual light can contribute to the collective healing of humanity. Right now, as you decide what to do with this information, remember, you can be the difference in someone's life today. You can be the kind word someone needs to hear, the smile that brightens a stranger's day, the hand extended to someone who is falling. The universe is waiting to see what choice you'll make. And every choice, every little choice, matters more than you can imagine.